I am sure you have heard about the Philippines, a tropical island located in the Pacific. Chances are you associate it with World War II and General Douglas MacArthur's famous quote, "I shall return." Then there was his iconic march through the surf when he did return. And he brought with him that big stick we lovingly call the U.S. military. The Japanese were driven off the island with a lot of blood and lives lost. But no one was prepared for what was discovered after the war. Japanese atrocities that made Nazi Germany pale by comparison. The Japanese left behind thousands of bodies not killed by bombs or bullets. Thousands of bodies with souls that could not rest. Most of the doctors experimenting on prisoners were never brought to trial, and that left behind a lot of unhappy spirits. Which brings up something most mainlanders have failed to notice about the Philippines. It appears to be a center for extreme paranormal activity. Brant Media visited the islands looking for the mystical Barangan City. We looked here and there and over there and found a potential clue at the Casa Viejo and a city called Baguio. Baguio is the largest city in northern Luzon, the island that is home to Manila and several tourist attractions like Tagaytay and Donsol. It is a mountain city, so almost survivable for someone who is intolerant to high humidity, like our wilting producer. Beautiful and spread over several mountains, it is known as the summer capital of the Philippines. Baguio is also considered the most haunted city in the world. Not surprisingly, it was the site of some of the most savage and bloody atrocities committed by the Japanese during World War II, and tribal warfare that lasted for tens of thousands of years was prevalent in the area. One of the prettiest restaurants in Baguio is located in Casa Viejo, the oldest hotel in the city proper. It was built in 1909 to house government officials and was converted to a hotel in 1923. Aside from the hotel, Casa Viejo features the restaurant Hill Station, Mount Good Bookshop, and North Haven Spa. Some have suggested that the old mirrors in the hotel acted as a portal to another world. The same place the Barangan Encantos live? Oh, maybe. But even renovation and replacing the mirrors did not stop the ghost. One 2016 visitor reported a shadow that walked through a room while it was occupied. It moved past the guest and entered a walk-in closet, then vanished. Which I guess shadows will do in the dark. But one occupant reported feeling a blow on his neck, and another reportedly hid under his sheets when the bathroom shower turned on, then off by itself. In daylight, it is a charming place. But when night falls, the old floors creak and strange sightings are reported. Casa Vieja served as a detention center for German prisoners in World War I. The Japanese took up residence during their occupation, and one must wonder if they committed the same acts of rape and murder that were common at the White House, just up the mountain near the teachers' camp. Who the ghosts are and why they remain is a mystery. We tried to ask the clerks what they thought, but the supervisor at the end of the counter made it clear they were not to talk. Perhaps there are no ghosts at all. They may be Encanto, the Philippines' special supernatural entity, who are only visible when they choose, and a cadre of whom reportedly live in Barangan. So, one city, multiple haunted locations, and the list keeps growing. Interestingly, the concept of ghosts did not arrive in the Philippines until the Spanish invaded in the 1700s. It was reinforced by the Japanese through a long history of trade and conquest. But the Philippines were settled far earlier than the 1700s. In fact, archaeological evidence shows that the Philippines archipelago was settled at least 30,000 years ago, primarily by Indonesian migrants. And spirits, if not ghosts, either came with the new settlers or were there waiting. Common to the Philippine culture prior to the Spanish arrival were witches, bloodsuckers, shapeshifters, and the demons they call Encanto. They are all clearly defined, except for one category of Encanto that Samar residents say hail from Barangan. The Barangan demon defies the stereotype of the traditional Encanto and may well be the remains of a race of people who were there waiting for the Indonesian explorers over 30,000 years ago. Sometimes known as the first people, the Barangan Encantos are something to be feared. And that sits at the core of the Barangan File, a documentary by Brant Media currently in post-production and which is scheduled for a late 2019 release. Hope you'll keep an eye out for the Barangan File, because if you think ghosts are scary, these things will give you chills.